There's a lot of theories floating around about what shape the Earth is, and I'm sure most of you have already heard of the flat Earth theory, but there's also the hollow Earth theory, which is less famous, but more insane. Now, the hollow Earth theory claims that there's an entire separate world beneath our own, and in this world there's Nazis and Vikings and Hebrews and giants and all sorts of crazy stuff. I'm Dantavius, how you doing? So, this is gonna be my first video in a series on conspiracies, and I want to start this series off by saying I don't believe most conspiracies. I believe some of them because, statistically speaking, some of them have to be true. But that being said, I'm going to try to stay away from more political conspiracies and also ones that could potentially get me whacked. So as I said, we're going to start off with the hollow earth theory. Now, again, you guys have probably heard of flat earth, and that's baby shit compared to this, man. Those flat earth virgins could never compare to the hollow earth chads. And before we jump into it, I want to say this isn't going to be like a super in-depth analysis on the topic. It's going to be kind of like an introduction, okay? So if you want to look into it more after you watch my video, feel free to do so. But, be careful because you might end up outside of NASA headquarters with a sign saying the Earth is flat, all right? So don't get too far into it or else you might go insane. Anyways, you may think that the hollow Earth is a concept that's exclusive to a handful of mentally deficient schmucks on 4chan. But actually, some very prominent thinkers throughout history believed in this theory, including Edmund Halley, the guy who discovered Halley's Comet, and US President John Quincy Adams, who believed in it so hard that he used US tax dollars to fund an expedition to the corner of the Earth. We'll get into all that later. For now, let's start at the beginning. Many cultures around the world have myths and stories about a subterranean world under the Earth's surface. For example, in ancient Greece, their afterlife, known as the underworld, was said to literally be under the Earth. They also believed that you could reach the underworld through a series of caverns. Why you would want to do this, I have no fucking clue. Ask Orpheus. But it was an option, I guess. Also, the gods of the underworld, Hades, Demeter, Persephone, were also known as the chthonic gods, and chthonic literally means subterranean in ancient Greek. Another example, in Dante's Inferno, hell was described as a physical place beneath the earth. It was described as an inverted cone with the bottom layer being near the earth's core and the top being at the surface. The Native American Iroquois tribes believed their ancestors emerged from a world beneath the surface, and in Tibetan Buddhism it said that under the earth exists the city of Shambhala, which you might be familiar with if you've ever played Uncharted 2. The modern day hollow earth theory actually began all the way back in 1692 with Edmund Halley, a British astronomer who, as I mentioned earlier, discovered Halley's Comet. Halley was also a mathematician, meteorologist, and physicist. The only thing this guy didn't do was get bitches. Halley discovered that the earth actually had more than two magnetic fields, and he concluded that the only way this could be possible is if the earth was actually made of two spheres, a solid one which we lived on, and an internal hollow sphere that was like suspended in air. And he gave Saturn as an example of this being possible. He said that Saturn's ring shares the same common center as the globe and moves along the planet without touching it. And his hollow earth theory followed the same logic. He even went so far as to say there could be life beneath the surface. These days, a theory like this would get you laughed out of the scientific community. But you gotta remember, this was at a time when people thought witches caused diarrhea.
We have found the witch! May we burn her?
Halley's contemporaries respected his theory, but obviously it wasn't widely expected, so it kind of faded away for a while. That is until 1818 when a guy named John Cleve Sims Jr. published a circular ad stating, "I declare the earth is hollow and habitable within, containing a number of solid concentric spheres, one within the other, and it is open at the poles 12 or 16 degrees. I pledge my life in support of this truth, and I am ready to explore the hollow if the world will support and aid me in this undertaking." Sims was obviously influenced by Halley, but he expanded on Halley's theory. According to Sims, the outer crust of the earth is 1,000 miles thick, and at each pole there are two large gaping holes the size of your mom's... Oh, sorry, my camera cut out there. As I was saying, there are two large gaping holes between 4,000 to 6,000 miles wide, which are now known as sim holes. The curvature of these openings was so gradual that somebody could potentially enter the inner earth without being aware. Kind of like how when you're driving long distances or flying, you're not really aware of the curvature of the earth, it just feels like it's flat the whole time. Man, where the heck am I? Last thing I remember, I was in the North Pole. Now, like, what the fuck is that? A penguin? What the heck is going on? Where am I? Now at this point, nobody fully explored the North and South poles, so as far as they knew, he could have been right. He also stated that the spheres inside the Earth would receive sunlight through these openings, and that there was vegetation and life in the inner Earth. Now, keep in mind, Sims was not a trained scientist, but he did read a lot of books. He's basically the 1800s equivalent of these people who do their own research and think they're smarter than doctors and scientists. Sims was so convinced about his theory that he invested a ton of money into spreading the words. He had like 500 pamphlets explaining his theory sent to politicians, scientists, and other influential people around the world. He also went on a public speaking tour to promote the Hollow Earth theory. His main goal in life was to lead an expedition to the North Pole so he could locate the mythical pole hole. Now, he would actually come very close to accomplishing his goal. After a while of spreading the word and doing speeches, Sims was able to build a following, including possibly the 6th president of the United States, John Quincy Adams. John Q actually allocated funds for Sims' expedition, but was unfortunately voted out of office before it could happen. Probably because he allocated funds for an expedition to get to the center of the Earth. Anyways, his successor, Andrew Jackson, scrapped the project right before he ethnically cleansed thousands of Native Americans. Now, Sims passed away in 1849, but his ideas did not die. While he didn't publish any literature on his ideas himself, some of his followers did, which allowed his work to live on. His concept of openings at the end of the Earth's poles are central to modern-day Hollow Earth theories. Now, the theories laid out by Haley and Sims were called convex Hollow Earth theories, which means that humans lived on the outermost part of the surface of the hollow planet. There are also concave Hollow Earth theories. These state that we actually live on the inside of a hollow spherical world, and our universe is inside the interior. Yeah, damn, this is like one of those topics you talk about with your friends at like 4 a.m. after a couple of gallons of Miller Lite, dog. Bro, what if we live on the inside of a planet, man? One of the most prominent supporters of the concave Earth hypothesis was a man by the name of Cyrus Teed, or Koresh Teed as he was later known. But Teed also founded his own religion called Koreshanity, proclaimed himself as the Messiah, and started a commune in Florida which he named New Jerusalem before getting beaten to death by one of his own followers. So I don't know how credible the guy is. In recent times, the Hollow Earth movement has been gaining some more momentum. The closest thing they have to a thought leader is a man named Rodney Clough. Rodney Clough? That sounds like a conspiracy theorist name. That shit doesn't even sound real, bro. Rodney Clough sounds like a character in a disaster movie who lives in the middle of the woods by himself and has been warning mankind of an impending disaster, but no one listens because he's too eccentric. Anyways, Clough is the author of the book World Top Secret: Our Earth is Hollow, the scientific, scriptural, and historical evidence that our Earth is hollow, which is essentially the holy book of Hollow Earth. And holy smokes, that is a long title. You need to shorten that shit, my guy. Clough has built his theory upon all of the other theories and evidence discussed in this video up until this point, but he also has a few additions of his own and a few other sources that I haven't talked about yet. Now, Clough says there are 3 main entry points into the Hollow Earth: the 2 sim holes at the North and South Pole, and another one somewhere in the Himalayas. Suspended in the center of the planet is an interior sun that's divided into day and night sides. And because of the ideal conditions in the middle of the Earth, trees can grow up to 1,000 feet tall. Humans are between 12 and 15 feet tall, and they never get sick. Animals are also massive. Oh, and there's also dinosaurs. Now, you may be asking, where the heck is he getting all this information from? Did he just make it up? Well, apparently a Norwegian sailor by the name of Olaf Jensen stumbled upon the mythical pole hole and entered this land beneath the surface. He lived there with his father for about 2 years and gave a full account of what he saw in the book, A Voyage to the Inner Earth. In addition to Jensen, Hollow Earthers also cite the account of Admiral Richard Byrd, and this guy was a big deal, alright? He won the Medal of Honor, and he was the first pilot to ever fly over both North and South Poles. After he passed away, his son published what he claimed to be his secret diary. In this diary, Byrd alleges to have flown into this mythical land and made contact with the natives. But of course the government covered that up too. Now, this world inside of our world is frequently referred to as Agartha, and apparently both the Buddhist spiritual kingdom of Shambhala as well as the Garden of Eden are located within Agartha. It's also rumored that there's a Starbucks down there. According to Clough, the lost Vikings of Greenland and the lost tribes of Israel also ended up in Agartha. It's also believed that some Nazis also made their way down there. You see, many members of the Nazi Party, including Hitler's inner circle, were into the occult. It's said that they were believers in Hollow Earth. The Nazis also led many expeditions to Antarctica, so it's speculated that these expeditions were an attempt to find the mythical South Pole hole. Many Hollow Earth enthusiasts came to the conclusion that many of the Nazis who fled Germany after World War II actually went to Agartha instead of like Argentina or something like that. Man, I wonder how the Nazis got along with the Lost Tribes of Israel. That must have been awkward. But let's go back to the native Agarthans for a second. I mentioned that they were giant, but they're also apparently very advanced, way more advanced than us. We're basically in the Stone Age compared to these mothersuckers. Clough says that they regularly spy on us using spacecrafts and flying saucers. Here's a quote from an interview with him. They want to keep an eye on us and stop us from starting a nuclear war. The majority of UFOs actually come from inside our planet. Dang, man, is this a Hollow Earth Ancient Aliens crossover? This has got to be one of the top 10 anime crossovers of all time. Actually, there is an episode of Ancient Aliens on this topic if you guys are interested.
Is it possible that entrances to another world can be found at the Earth's poles? And if so, did Admiral Byrd actually pass through one of them? According to some ancient astronaut theorists, such gateways do exist. Is there an extraterrestrial explanation for the Earth's most mysterious?
Damn, I'm fucking high.
Clough believes in his idea so hard that he actually tried to organize an expedition to the North Pole on an icebreaker ship in an attempt to find the glorious hole. But sadly, it ended up not happening. But hey, you can't blame him. You guys have no idea how hard it is to plan an expedition to Agartha, man. The logistics are an absolute nightmare. Now, is there any actual evidence for these claims besides theories and some stories? Well, I was able to find some. First off, Hollow Truthers claim that commercial flights avoid flying over the poles so that people don't see the sim holes. Some evidence of this is that there's no commercial flights that would fly from the bottom of South America to Australia or something, even though it would be shorter to go to Antarctica. There's also this photo released by NASA in 2016 that some people point to as proof of a sim hole being in the North Pole. Now, of course, you have other images of the Earth that does not feature that hole at the top, but those are clearly just photoshopped. And after some digging, I actually found this video of what looks to be a sim hole in the South Pole. If you look at the comments in this video, you'll see a lot of truthers in there. Now, if all of that evidence wasn't enough for you sheep, here's the smoking gun right here. Elon Musk himself believes in Hollow Earth. There we go. He must know something we don't know. Well, I think that's all that needs to be said about Hollow Earth, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this video because I want to do more videos like this. So if you did enjoy it, please give it a like. Give my channel a subscribe, follow me on social media even. I'm going to start a Patreon soon, so keep your eyes open for that. I definitely want to start doing more videos like this, and I want to make some more history videos. I'm going to kind of move away from the tier lists and icebergs as much in 2022. Like, I'm still going to do them on occasion, but, as you guys have seen, I've been, phasing that out and doing different types of content. But I think videos like this are a perfect mix for me because it's I can be funny, I can also talk about interesting stuff, and you guys can maybe learn something. So I think that'll be fun. And yeah, man, I think that's all I have to say. Thank you guys for watching as always. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. I always like reading the comments. Thank you guys. Later.